What is up, Pats Nation? It is Patriots Global here with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Patriots defensive line, and it sparks a conversation for many, but then it's also very underrated for many. Now, a lot of people think that the Patriots putting pressure on the quarterback just sucks so bad, and honestly, it's not as bad as you think. They actually are one of the more top-graded teams in pressuring and getting to the quarterback. Now, that does not mean because of their defensive line. Keep in mind, the Patriots a lot of the times use a safety blitzing, a cornerback blitzing, linebackers. It's not just that defensive line, but ultimately they are finding ways to get to the quarterback, and apparently the stats are proving that. I believe when I looked at this, they were top 10, top 15. I remember that they were pretty highly ranked, and I was actually really surprised. As fans, we always like to be picking out the worst things about our team. It just kind of is what it is, but we need to put ourselves in their shoes and understand, can we do this as people? We all want a perfect game where literally the opposing team does not complete a pass, where Tom Brady's throwing for at least 4 touchdowns a game, Sony Michel's going off for over a 100-yard game. It's just unrealistic. So I'm not really going to be talking about putting pressure on the quarterback, really, because the Patriots, like I said, find ways to get to the quarterback. Like I said, cornerback, safety, linebacker. What I really want to focus on is the actual players on the defensive line. Now, you look at defensive end, and it's not as bad as people like to think. You have guys like Trey Flowers, one of the best pass rushers and edge rushers in the league right now, and that's not my opinion. And then you have guys like Adrian Claiborne, who he has been a little disappointing, but he does get the job done. You have John Simon, who was a great pickup, especially late into the season. In my all honesty, I wish they would play this guy more. He has the ability to do it. Really wish he would get more reps. You have Dietrich Wise, who is a rookie in his second year. Honestly, been a little disappointed in him. Now, that could be due to him not seeing as much field time. But, you look at what he did last year, and I just really wish that we would be able to see more of Wise. The Pats really stacked up on the defensive end position in all. Now, there's many reasons why this defensive line does struggle, and I really want to start off with the main reason, and I think it's a reason that a lot of people maybe think about, but it's definitely underrated, and that's the defensive tackle position. Now, for a second, let's just look at the Pats' defensive tackles. Now, you have Malcolm Brown, who was a first-round pick. You have Lawrence Guy, who actually was graded one of the best defensive tackles so far this year. He's been doing great, but again, a guy I would love to see them put on the field more. You have Danny Shelton, who we just picked up this offseason in exchange for a 5th-round pick, and he has been a healthy scratch for 2 weeks in a row, I believe. And then you have Adam Butler, who I don't want to say is the best defensive tackle, but he's definitely in the run for that. The only other person that's in the run for the best defensive tackle would be Lawrence Guy. But if we're talking about pass rush, if we're talking about getting to that quarterback, without a doubt, Adam Butler is the best defensive tackle we have when it comes to that. I'm going to be so real, and our defensive tackles really just are not good at all. We have 2 pretty good defensive tackles, but no one that really stands out. No one that keeps offensive coordinators standing up at night like, all right, how are we going to get past this guy? And you look at teams that have a good defensive tackle, like the Lions or Fletcher Cox on the Eagles defense. Those guys make an impact, not just in the running game, but also when it comes to getting to the quarterback. Malcolm Brown has just been, I don't want to say a disappointment. I don't think he qualifies in the category yet as a first-round bust, but he by far has not lived up to his expectations. He was showing signs of improvement last year, and I was expecting a lot more from him this year, but nothing happens at all. I mean, they declined his 5th-year option, and he was a first-round pick, so I feel like that kind of says a lot. And then you have Danny Shelton, who comes in from the Browns. He was also a first-round pick and a defensive tackle. And really, the Pats have done almost everything they can in their power to make sure that this guy succeeds. They even brought in the defensive coordinator that he worked with in Cleveland the year that he actually did fairly well. But honestly, I have not heard Danny Shelton's name pretty much at all this season. Now, there have been a couple of times where, they would say, a stop made by Shelton, but, you never hear his name, anything crazy, not sacking the quarterback, not a tackle for a loss, nothing crazy. And I believe that both Malcolm Brown and Danny Shelton are in their contract years, and if they cannot get them for a very minimum, then I just don't even see why they would sign them, if they want to sign them at all. I mean, we've seen what they can do, and they just have not done anything this season. They're basically guys in the shadows. They're barely getting that much play time anymore. Like I said, Danny Shelton has been inactive, a healthy scratch for now 2 weeks. So I think that a big reason why this defensive line is having so much issues is because we are relying so much on edge rushers. And yes, that is actually really important. Edge rushers are so important. But I don't feel like we have terrible edge rushers at all. I think it's defensive tackle because, yes, we can get the edge rushers to start caving in from the sides. But in the middle, it's an open gap. You're not going to be able to get much. So in my opinion, I think a big offseason need that is so underrated is going to be defensive tackle. And finding a good defensive tackle is hard. I will say that. I will admit that there have been a lot of, busted up defensive tackles that have not worked out for a lot of teams. But ultimately, it's just doing good scouting and picking the right guy. Now, the only other reason why I personally feel like this defensive line does have issues sometimes is because Bill Belichick does go a little stingy on players, as we all know. We had one of the best pass rushers in the league with Chandler Jones, and Bill Belichick did not want to give him that money, so he shipped him off to Arizona. There's always guys on the market, always guys to trade for, but Bill Belichick doesn't really want to do that because of money-wise. And it is a smart football move, but at the same time, it also hurts the team in a sense that Bill Belichick really tries to get these mediocre players to come and do the unthinkable. And while I'm not saying go out and get Khalil Mack, go out and get J.J. Watt or T.J. Watt, that's not what I'm saying. That's just very, it's just so unrealistic to think like that. But at the same time, it's just like having players that are undrafted making this team over so many other guys and just having those guys not work out just kind of says a lot. And sometimes Bill Belichick just needs to put in a little bit more effort in order to get some decent guys. There are certain positions in football that you can go a little stingy in, but when it comes to this defensive line and finding guys that can actually generate pressure, you just can't jump rope around that kind of thing. In all honesty, I don't think this really comes down to coaching. A lot of people want to say that. Yes, now and then there are some stupid play calls, and I'll say that now, but I also really think it comes down to the players we have. But that is just my opinion. What are your guys' thoughts on why this Patriots defensive line has so much trouble? And when I say so much trouble, I just kind of mean the inconsistency. Make sure you guys let me know in the comments below. I know a lot of you guys just rampage about this defensive line so much, and I definitely don't feel a lot like you guys do, but you guys seem to feel this way. So make sure you guys let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, as helps me out very, very, very much. Make sure you guys share this video with everybody who knows who can go to the Patriots Global family. And other than that, I will catch you guys in another video.
In Astro World.